In the light, nothing can hurt you. But in the dark, it is a completely different place. A place where even the strongest of people are most vulnerable. That is where she comes and goes. I know that in the dark, she can sense my terror.
Harry Potter is Warner Brothers' most lucrative property, and you might argue that Warner Brothers' DC characters are more iconic, but they have not been working out too well for them critically or financially. The DC universe is a mess, and while it's a no-brainer for Warner Brothers to continue utilizing the Wizarding World to represent their company, they've chosen to do so with the Fantastic Beasts films, which have been objective failures. Not just because of the absence of the beloved characters and the actors, but the extreme lack of wonder, the absence of magic. Those movies are just needlessly bland and dull and overly convoluted, and it's not because they're trying to be a more sophisticated adult exploration of the Wizarding World. They're just very poorly executed, and the box office speaks for itself. So how can Warner Brothers continue to keep the Wizarding World alive in the most universally satisfying way? Well, for one, bring back the wonder and magic, even if doing so through a more mature approach. But I think what everyone really wants to see is the return of the beloved original characters, particularly Daniel Radcliffe as Harry Potter, Emma Watson as Hermione Granger, and Rupert Grint as Ron Weasley. So many of us grew up with these characters, and the actors grew up playing them, so seeing them return as the characters so many years later would carry an emotional weight that no other reunion in film or television history could achieve. Would it be absolutely necessary? No film is. But it would be exciting and fun and emotional and nostalgic, which are all necessary emotions to feel, and I think we'd feel them to the absolute extreme in this scenario. Now, do I think they should adapt the play Harry Potter and the Cursed Child into a film? No, probably not. Not very many people like the plot of Cursed Child, and I'm one of those people, so I'd like an original story crafted by a talented filmmaker with the assistance of Radcliffe, Watson, and Grint, as they are more familiar with the characters than anyone. And let's talk about the elephant in the room, J.K. Rowling. Warner Brothers should completely distance themselves from her if they are able. I'm sure they can find a way. Not just because she wrote the screenplays for the very bad, convoluted Fantastic Beasts films, but she is an awful person. If you aren't aware, she has spent the past few years being vocally hateful towards a minority group that already has alarming statistics of taking their own lives due to discrimination and oppression, and she uses her humongous platform to spread misinformation, invalidate the lived experiences of people she doesn't even know, and therefore causes more hate, oppression, and, in the long run, death. Even if you grew up with an oversimplified view of gender, repeatedly vocalizing your disregard for an entire minority group of people to your millions of followers is just evil, because there are consequences of such actions. And I'll just add that gender is not the same as sex, and even sex is far more complex and nuanced than just XY and XX. There are many different chromosome combinations. Around 1.7% of the population is intersex, which is around the same as redheads, and someone could grow up with intersex traits and not even know it. Bottom line, Miss Rowling needs to get rolling away from any future projects. The entire cast has gone against her statements, so goodbye, JK. Harry Potter belongs to the fans now. It has taken a life of its own, and we won't let its meaning be stripped away just because you're a bigot, JK. Let's give Hunter Schafer and Elliot Page roles in the next movie. I'd also settle for an HBO miniseries. That could be great. And speaking of an HBO series, that's the only way I'd ever tolerate them readapting or rebooting Harry Potter with a new cast. If each book got its own season of a TV series with a fresh new cast, it wouldn't feel like a replacement of the original movies, but a more detailed, accurate adaptation of the books that was allowed to take its time in a way that a 2-hour movie could not. And the timing of this video is perfect because it was just announced as I was making this video that may be happening over at HBO. But anyway, what do you think? I'd love to hear your thoughts. So let me know them.